because that should have been done years ago. I got a bad hand with all these horrible trade deals. NAFTA's a disaster. Mexico is going to make over $100 billion on the United States this year. Canada, you know, Canada, nice guy. Prime Minister, Justin. I say, Justin, what's your problem, Justin? So, Canada. Oh, Canada, I love their national anthem. Oh, Canada. I like ours better, however. So, no, Canada's great. I love Canada. And we had a wonderful understanding. You know that story. We hugged, we kissed, everybody was happy. I made some changes in this ridiculous thing that everybody agreed to sign. It was meaningless, but I made some changes. I left, everybody was happy. Prime Minister Abiy said President Trump was right. Everybody was in love. They took the picture with Merkel, but if they showed the picture like 2 minutes later, I had a big smile, she had a big smile. We were friendly, everybody. I get onto Air Force One, and he doesn't understand that Air Force One has 22 televisions. So I come on, they have televisions in closets, they have televisions in an area that no place has to. Unlimited budget, Air Force One, right? So I get onto the plane, and I see Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada, saying, Canada will not be bullied by the United States. I say, what are we doing here? The fact is that Canada has a 275% tariff on dairy products, little thing called dairy products. Their lumber is a disaster with us. I say, why aren't we using our own lumber? Because now we're actually allowed to take lumber from our fields and regrow it, but take lumber from under our environmental system. In the old days, you couldn't do that. We had to go to other countries. So lumber is a disaster. Energy is a disaster. And, you know, I see Justin saying, we fought World War I together. We fought World War II together. That's true. We love Canada. But Canada's charging almost 300% tariffs on dairy products and many other things. It's all working out great. It's all working out great. And I said, look, if you want to do that, we're going to put a little tariff on your cars coming in. You know, cars are the biggie. Cars are the biggie. European Union, we lost $151 billion last year with the European Union. Sounds nice. Many of us originally came from somewhere in the European Union. I had two parents, European Union. So it sounds wonderful. Our country lost $151 billion. They send the Mercedes, they send BMWs, they send everything. We tax them practically nothing. We can't send our cars. And if we do, they charge many, many times the tax that we stupidly don't charge. So I told them, here's what we're going to do. We're going to charge a tariff on steel until such time as you straighten out your act and you let us have fare. They don't let our farmers into the European Union. It's very hard. So we have farmers that want to sell. You don't hear these stories. This is why. With these people, they don't tell you these stories. The European Union has what they call trade barriers. The European Union doesn't allow our farmers to go and trade. It's very hard for them to go trade. And if they do, it's very expensive. Same like Canada. Essentially, when you're paying a 275% tax, and now I'm understanding it's higher, but at 275, that's essentially a trade barrier. You can't trade. How can we trade? We can't pay that kind of a tax. So I want the barriers taken down. I want our farmers to be able to trade. I want to be able to sell cars in there just like they sell cars in here. And it's all going to work out. It's all going to work out. Remember this. Remember this. It's all going to work out. Because we're the piggy bank that they like to take from. Whether it's military protection, you look at NATO. NATO, we're spending 90% of NATO. Now, it's all wonderful and we like to help out, but it helps them. They're in Europe. Helps them a lot more than it helps us. We're very far away. So we have this incredible. Germany is paying 1% of a much smaller GDP. We're paying close to 4% of a much larger GDP. Now, that doesn't work, folks. Doesn't work. So I think we should pay the same as Germany. I just think we should pay the same as Germany. So we're working all of these things. But the fact is, we were given somewhat of a bad hand because we came in, they had all these problems. But I love it. I'm loving what we're doing. You people are loving what we're doing. We have the great Peter Navarro. I'll tell you one thing, Peter Navarro does like tariffs. He probably likes them more than I do. There's Peter Navarro right there. Raise your hand, Peter. So they're all calling. They all want to make deals. Before I did this, they weren't calling the Obama administration. But the Obama administration, and in all fairness, the Bush administration, didn't care. It wasn't their thing. Last year on trade, our country lost $817 billion with a B. Billion dollars. 817. We lost $817 billion. Who the hell can do that? And we don't have to be perfect. We don't even have to get it down to zero. But we can't lose 800 because you feel like sort of stupid, don't you? Don't you feel stupid? And the biggest, of course, was China. China made anywhere, depending on the way you count, from $375 billion. We built China. And I really like President Xi. But we built China. And they did help us on the border with North Korea. They might not be helping us anymore, and that would be too bad. But that would be too bad. And I've been as nice as I can, as long as I can, but we got to get some balance. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but there's got to be some fairness. You know, I'm a believer in free trade, but I'm really a believer in fair trade. This is ridiculous. And I said to a man in China, how did it get so bad? Because they know their gig is up. How did it get so bad? And remember this, you know, we've picked up, since I got elected, we've picked up tremendous worth. We picked up anywhere from 9 to 7 to 7 to 9 trillion dollars. We're almost twice the size of China's economy. Nobody knows that. Nobody knows that. Nobody knows. So I said, how did it get so bad? He said, well, what happened is we would put on a tax on cars. You know, in China, if you sell a car into China from the United States, they charge you a 25% tax. If China sells a car into the United States, we charge them 2.5%. So it's 2.5% versus 25%. Somehow, I'm looking at this rich guy right over here, that doesn't work too well. Do you agree? That's not a big worker, right? I'll bet you're a very successful guy. I can see it. I can see the eyes, you know. Big success. But that doesn't work too well, sir, does it? And we have many, many cases like that. We have many cases like that. So we're going to straighten it out. And they all want to negotiate. Because they have to negotiate. I mean, honestly, they have to negotiate. It has to happen. It's not like, that's not a threat. It's like the Iran deal was so bad. We paid $150 billion to sign a horrible agreement. We gave $1.8 billion in cash to pick up 4 hostages. They're the wealthiest hostages in the world. They have the highest net worth of any hostage in history. We paid nothing to North Korea, and he did a very smart thing because it was goodwill. It was good. We did it before I even left. So, you know, there are a lot of good things, and a lot of good things are happening, folks, and it's all going to work out. And it's going to work out because we have a big advantage. Because remember, we're the bank, and they're taking money from us hand over fist. But at some point, that's got to stop. It's got to stop. We can lower your taxes, which we did. We gave you the greatest tax cut in the history of our country. All right? We have some incredible things happening with health care. We got very badly hurt. We had all the votes, and then one gentleman early in the morning, like 2 o'clock in the morning, he went no. Well, he campaigned on repeal and replace. We had all the votes, and perhaps he was grandstanding. Who knows what he was doing? But you know what? He said no, no. Everybody said, what the hell happened? He's been campaigning for 8 years, repeal and replace. And he didn't do that. But now, what we've done in the tax cut is we've gotten rid of the individual mandate. The individual mandate. We've gotten rid of it. And by the way, I have these stupid teleprompters. You don't mind that I haven't used them all night, do you? Every once in a while, I look at it and say, oh, that's so boring. We don't want America is back, bigger and better and stronger than ever. You've heard that before. No, I'm looking. I keep looking. I just see things that they're true, but they're not quite as exciting. So we are doing so well. We are lifting millions and millions of Americans from welfare to work, from dependence to independence, and from poverty to prosperity, right? We're putting new American steel into the spine of our country and breathing new hope into our beautiful communities. True. The forgotten men and women of our country are forgotten no more. They're still trying to figure out who the hell were all these people that came and voted 2 years ago. Who are they? Who are they? Yeah, all of us. They're trying to find, how do we get to the forgotten men and women? I said, I think you've lost them for a long time. Because just like this producer from Hollywood said, we're doing a real job. I don't believe, so now it's 511 days. I don't believe any administration, and you're with us, we're partners in this whole deal. You know, when we came out, we're partners. This is not me. This is a whole group of people. I don't believe, and I don't even think it's close, that any president has done what we've done in 500 days. Not only the judges, not only the biggest tax cuts, not only Anwar in Alaska, you know all about Anwar, one of the great drilling sites in the world, that nobody could get oil and gas, that nobody could get approved. Ronald Reagan couldn't get it. Nobody could. I didn't even want it until I heard everybody else wanted it, and I said, it's like a freebie. That's part of our tax cuts. Tax cut and reform, right? We want cut. Please give me the word cut, right? You've heard that, sir. I want the word cut. So we've cut regulations more than any president in history, whether it's 4 years, 8 years, 16 years. And we have more cutting to do. And by the way, we want regulation. We want crystal clean water. We want beautiful clean air. We want it more than anybody. And our air and our water now is better than it ever has been. And we're going to keep it that way. It's important. It's very important. So as long as we're proud of who we are, and we are very proud of who we are, and what we're fighting for, we as a country will never, ever fail. We'll never fail. We have 3.4 million new jobs since Election Day. If I would have said during the campaign that I was going to create 3.4 million new jobs, that countries, and you have no idea what we're going through, countries are trying to hold back their companies that used to be our companies from leaving and moving back to the United States. We have companies, Chrysler, so many companies coming back into the United States. They want to be where the action is, not only because of the tax cuts, but for a lot of other reasons, including, frankly, those regulation cuts. But we have more jobs. We have higher stats. The manufacturers of the United States voted. They said this is the single most optimism that manufacturers in this country have ever had. Small business owners, the same thing. It's the most optimistic that they've ever been. They've never been this optimistic. And I'll tell you something. I'd like to take the credit for this, but I can't because it's Henry. South Carolina is doing unbelievable business. Companies are pouring in. Your jobs are way up. Your numbers are through the roof. You're a real leader all over the country. They're looking at South Carolina. Well, your governor is a man named Henry McMaster. You're doing unbelievable numbers. So I didn't want to say that, Henry. I didn't want to say that, Henry. I wanted to take the credit for myself. But I figured South Carolina would understand, right? But we're standing on the shoulders of true American patriots who put down the railroads, built up the highways, and dug out a thing called the Panama Canal and lost many lives doing it. Mosquitoes lost many, many lives. They crossed oceans, they trekked deserts, they scaled mountains, and built the most incredible nation